now be recorded.
All right, we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's 5:30. A roll call. At-large Cummins.
Here.
At-large.
This conference will now be recorded.
I bumped it barely.
Are we ready now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We'll start over with roll call just to get it for the record. At-large Cummins.
Here.
At-large Poshton.
Here.
Ward 1 Coob.
Here.
Ward 2 Helm.
Here.
Ward 3 Johnston.
Here.
Okay. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, next item is approval of the agenda. Just one quick note on the agenda. There are, under city business, number 2 and number 4 are the same item. We will only discuss those once. That's the only amendment to the written agenda.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Cummins, seconded by Poshton.
Cummins?
Yes.
Poshton?
Yes.
Coob?
Yes.
Helm?
Yes.
Johnston?
Yes.
Okay, moving on to communications. And we have one scheduled item under communication, and that's Library Director Denise Smith doing a presentation, grant award letter presentation.
Actually, it's not a grant, it's a gift.
Gift.
So,
Oh.
on October 22nd, 2025, we got the following letter. Dear Tipton Public Library, I am delighted to inform you that the foundation established by Andrew Carnegie, Carnegie's Corporation of New York, is awarding a $10,000 gift to your library and to all Carnegie libraries nationwide in commemoration of the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Andrew Carnegie founded the construction of 1,681 free public libraries in the United States between 1886 and 1917, driven by his belief that they were cradles of democracy. As part of our Carnegie Libraries 250 special initiative, we contacted each library and established that about 1,280, including yours, still operate as libraries and acknowledge their association with Carnegie, making them eligible for the celebratory gift. Your library can expect to receive a check in January 2026. You may use the funds however you wish to celebrate the anniversary, further your mission, and benefit your community. If your library system includes multiple Carnegie libraries or branches, each one will receive $10,000. Instructions for receiving your gift are provided below. On behalf of the foundation, thank you for the many ways you serve your communities. My hope is that this gift serves as a recognition of your commitment, our founder's legacy, and the importance of this milestone in our nation's history. Best regards, Dame Louise Richardson, President, Carnegie Corporation of New York.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Thank you. Any questions for Denise? Anyone? No? Okay. Is there anyone else present that would like to address the council? No? Okay. All right, moving on to consent agenda. These are routine items that will be enacted by one motion without separate discussion unless the council member requests separate consideration. Approval of the council meeting minutes of October 20th, 2025. Approval of the liquor license renewal for Tavern on the Square. Approval of the 2024-2025 annual financial report. Approval of the hydroponic in-floor heat repair at the fire station. Approval of the downtown revitalization incentive program reimbursement request for Alex Tishik, doing business as A&J Enterprises, Hardee's, at 601 Cedar Street for $5,000. Approval of the downtown revitalization incentive program reimbursement request for Daisy Wingert at 118 East 5th Street for $2,019.60. And approval of the mayoral appointment establishing the Zoning Board of Adjustments as the city's construction board of appeals, with these current members serving in this dual role. Bo Hallam, Jason Harmon, Mike Nissen, it's supposed to be Mike Nissen, Caitlin Boyle, and then there is one vacancy that I need to fill. And then approval of the 2026-2027 tax increment financing indebtedness report, and approval of the claims register, which includes claims paid under the current purchase policy.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Poshton, seconded by Coob.
Poshton?
Yes.
Coob?
Yeah.
Helm?
Yes.
Johnston?
Yes.
Cummins?
Yes. Okay. Moving on to city business. First item is discussion and possible action concerning masonry repair options for City Hall. Dane?
Yeah, so I just gave you 3 options. Just because what I uncovered taking the brick down, the windows are 40 years old. They were not really installed properly at the time. So I hate to put something back without everybody knowing, maybe some future problems. And the other option, I guess, to do it right, it's kind of expensive, but if you plan on doing the other openings that are similar, I would probably go that route. As far as wood burning, insulating, just putting one window in instead of the 2 windows, because every section there, I think there is 6 windows. Is that right, Melissa or Jason? Or
I think that's right.
I think second story that are all similar. I guess I would have probably pushed more the option of 1 as far as just bricking them back in if you're not going to do anything with the other ones within 5 years, since there was talk that the City Hall might be moving to US Bank, I guess. I don't know what that entails, but I guess I just put options out there.
So the windows are good still.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of
they
sealing
work and
them,
everything,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But 40 years old,
So.
I never went and tried everyone to make sure they worked. Those 2 probably have never opened ever, I guess.
Sure. Sure.
We looked at them. In my opinion, I would do option 2 to remove the 2 windows, because
That's what I was
where they're
wondering.
located, they're not serving any purpose.
Right.
I
They're
mean,
right on top of the stairs. So
yeah,
it's not an office.
right. They're letting cold air in. I would rather Dane take them out,
That
lock
was
them in.
that was actually my initial thought when I
Yeah.
when I read it was option 2. I can't see why we would spend the money to
No.
fix
And the
that.
windows, they are, I mean, we talked, I'm guessing 30.
Yeah.
They're vinyl, but the seals they're still there.
Yeah.
But it's definitely letting some cold air in, put it that way. And it's above the stairway. What's your thoughts? I mean, I guess
Yeah, the only thing is the covering up the inside, painting it and plastering over the holes in there. I would just figured I can block them in, then you'll be weather tight, and just do everything the original way and match the brick as close as I can. Maybe put 1-inch insulation before I put the brick up and give it some sort of R value.
Yep.
2.5 R value in that section.
something better than nothing.
Yeah, I can only go up to, I think, 1 inch is the allowance I have for the cavity. But yeah, option 2 would probably be the best, if not 1. Option 1, leave the windows, put it back the same way I took it out, and hope for another 40 years.
Right. What was the difference cost wise again?
$400.
400.
I mean, I know it's going to look ugly from the inside for a little bit,
I
but
don't think it
but
matters.
nobody goes up there. And my feeling, just in the business I am, if you get rid of one spot, not saying that after you're done the windows are going to leak, but if we can get rid of one spot that there might possibly be a leak, I feel a lot better about that. So I guess I'm going to make a motion for option 2.
I'll
And that option is you not doing anything inside, right, Dane?
Right. That's
Yep.
Just blocking in the
Yep.
the 2 window holes with center block the way.
Yep.
It was constructed. That back wall it's all masonry framed. When they infilled those windows, it was all masonry, and so I would just continue the masonry on that interior wall, and then brick veneer on the outside.
Yep.
Match is close.
I mean, we don't know what that purpose is going to serve up there yet. So
The only
Right.
thing I thought maybe the natural light coming in, if it was gonna be too dark going up the stairs there, but other than that, I don't see a problem blocking them in.
I'm not there every day, but I guess when I drive,
Is it pretty dark?
It would be dark.
you guys do open the blinds.
I think the blinds are open.
Yeah, I think the blinds
Okay.
are usually open.
Yes.
Are
Yeah.
After City Hall moves, how much traffic's gonna go up them steps anyway?
Well, we don't know.
That's the question.
We don't know.
So
Well, and there's other work that needs to be done. I mean, if that's going to be a long term, if that building is going to be used in the long term, there's there's plaster that's peeling off. I mean, there's other work
Yeah, within 5
that
years,
needs to be
you're gonna-
done.
Within 5 years, you're gonna wanna do all the openings, because you're, that's where water's probably
For
gonna
two.
get in.
Yep.
All the windows are gonna be the same, I just so happened to find this one was the worst one. You know,
Lucky.
there's a lot of small brick, the one I picked, there was a lot more small brick there to where I could salvage any of it, so that's why I went ahead and just took it all the way down, and it's just easier to redo the whole thing. So all the other openings will be consistent of the pictures I sent to Melissa. So not like the building's gonna fall down, but it's just, there'll be some expense to,
Yeah.
when you replace a window, it's just not a window.
Okay. So we have a motion by Poston and a second by Coob for option 2.
Coop,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
Poston.
Yes.
Okay.
Abstain.
Yes, thanks, Dean. Next item is discussion and possible action concerning the city manager search process update. And do we? Oh,
Yeah.
Brent, can you hear us? Can he?
He's talking.
We can't hear you, Brent. It looks like he's unmuted. Okay. Do we need to turn this on?
yeah, just on the left. The power should be on top.
Or we're gonna be looking up
He's
there?
gonna. It's the presentation that you have, the packet of
Oh,
information,
okay.
but he's gonna present it up here, so you can move if you want to move.
I made him. This should it be green?
Yeah.
It should be,
Brent, can you
right?
hear us? We cannot hear you.
I did? Oh. There we go.
Do I need
Wasn't
to do
doing
anything
anything.
here?
Click on that.
No, it's the same thing.
We might need to check his audio options if he's got audio options.
Yeah. Or you could also call in
That's what I'm
through
wondering.
your phone and leave that up so that the presentation shows through there.
Can he share? No. Don't know if he can share. Because you have that line down. Maybe that's
Tell him I just sent him the call-in information.
Melissa just sent you the call-in information, Brent. Yeah, because I'm in charge of this too, technically.
Yeah, now it's phone's right. Calling in.
Okay, do you guys have me now?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you. You're going to need.
Great. I'm going to have a little bit of echoing here, so I'm going to shut off the sound here, but then I'll try to take questions from you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, can you hear me okay now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yep. So that shut off my echo. So we should just be able to talk this way. So anyway, I just had two things going at once. Well, thank you very much for meeting with me here. We're at a good point here in the city manager search. We're ready to get formal direction from council as far as being able to go out and advertise for the position. So I provided you a memo, and then there's some additional items that we've got here for you to look at. But like I said, the main point of tonight's meeting and kind of where we're at will be authorizing us to go out, start advertising for the position. The schedule that we've got is in the memo. Basically, we're looking at advertising between now and December 4th. We'd be coming back to you that second week in December, trying to kind of squeeze everything in before Christmas so that we can get candidates selected prior to Christmas, and then we would interview right after the first of the year. So that's kind of what we're looking at for schedule. As far as the memo, again, hopefully you got a chance to review that. That was in the packets. Was a little less turnaround time on the organizational survey results and the position profile, so certainly we can walk through a little bit more there as needed. The only thing else that I would comment on the memo, just so you guys are aware, if you take a look in the position profile and see what we're looking at for qualifications, I ended up changing that in the basically in the position profile to match up with your job description, which calls for a bachelor's degree and 5 years experience, where I said in the memo, master's degree and 3 to 5 years experience. I think that we want to pin to your job description to the greatest extent possible. And so I think that bachelor's degree and 5 years of experience is a good metric and very similar to what I was coming up with anyway, just more the emphasis on the experience. So I guess any questions on the memo? Otherwise, I can kind of launch into the other items here. Okay, I'm going to take that as a no. So as far as the position profile goes, this is the advertising document we use to market the position to candidates. If there's anything in there that you guys felt could have been added, should have been added, or was inaccurate, we certainly try to make it as accurate as possible. We did have some information we were able to pull from the previous profile that was done back in 2017 when Pat Callahan did the search, and I was his second consultant on that, so I was involved back in 2017 when you did this process. But I guess any questions, comments, concerns, additions, deletions from the profile?
There's a couple. There's a couple of things, Brent.
Please, please tell me. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Abby.
So this is probably dumb, but I just don't like the wording with saying that we're abundant with retailers and dining options. I just don't. I just feel kind of like a little bit of it is misleading. Like if I read this, I would probably think I'm coming into something more than what Tipton is currently offering, and I don't mean that in a bad way, and I don't want to keep people away. I just don't want people to come here and then not quite have what they think that they're having. We don't have a furniture store unless that was meant because of the vintage rewind, but we don't actually have a furniture store anymore.
Okay.
And then I do think that there's mention, I don't remember where it's at, but there's mention about like having our own utilities, etc. I think you do mention the airport in the city government and organization section, but I think the airport could be mentioned. I wish I could find where I'm talking about. So it's the paragraph that says the city of Tipton offers the full range of services typically offered by Iowa municipal governments. Yeah, I think airport could be mentioned in there. To be honest, I feel like that could be a draw. Like that could, that means potential growth, in my opinion, if somebody sees that there's an airport. And then I noticed in one section where you have it highly regarded K through 12 school system, and then later 900 students in the PK through 12. I think it should be one or the other, either K through 12 or PK through 12. And
gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Okay, no problem.
Right? We have a
Pre-K.
PK.
Yeah,
so I feel like the PK through 12 is accurate.
Yep. Okay, perfect.
Well, there's just a couple like typo things. Right on page 7, under announcements and advertisements, you have city administrator instead of city manager.
Oh no. Okay, very good.
And then
okay. Oh shoot, it does say administrator. Sorry about that. Okay.
No, that's okay. One other thing under job requirements, the council had approved an amendment to the prior job description a few months ago, adding a combination of education and experience under job requirements.
Okay. Okay.
And then one last thing.
Okay, that wasn't. Yep, that wasn't in what I had. So okay, very good.
And then under the organizational chart, and I don't know if this is more from a supervisory responsibility or an appointment, but like the police chief, the police department or police chief actually reports to the mayor and the council. Same with the zoning administrator.
Okay, very good.
So how planning and zoning, I'm not sure how.
Okay. All right. I can make those adjustments.
I think from the
no problem. Yep. I was just kind of operating on the info I had available and trying to, I kind of just sketched that up. So yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I just didn't know how that was laid out. And like I said, from on a day-to-day, for the most part, city manager oversees those things, but from an appointment, or I guess from a council perspective, the police chief and the zoning administrator are appointed by the mayor and council.
Yeah. So do you see that as like we can show a dashed line? Are we showing a dashed line from one of them? Because that's kind of how I would tend to show it on an org chart. Is that if it's like the city administrators overseeing on a day-to-day basis, but you see that as primarily reporting to mayor and council, then that would be a dashed line from the city manager, or if vice versa, you see that as primarily reporting to the city manager, but council has more of an enhanced role, then it might be a dashed line from the council. How would you guys see that?
Council? I mean, I think for the most part on a day-to-day, the city manager oversees those things, but I think if you're looking at the ordinance and somebody compares this organizational chart to what the ordinance says, the ordinance says the mayor and council oversees those. So for consistency.
Then it'll be dashed line from the city manager then. So that's fine. I'll make those adjustments.
City manager actually address the council and entertain questions also. So.
Right.
So.
Okay.
What'd you say?
Great. Okay, anything else that we need to capture here before we finalize this?
Anybody else see anything?
Abby, if you have other things though that you left at work, send an email to us
I will.
in the morning.
I will. I had it with my. I was talking about it, and I just.
You hit on the job requirement. That was one of mine. You hit on that.
Yeah.
I mean, none of it was, make or break things. It's
just little finite
things that
stuff.
I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just feel like we need to really be accurate about the kind of community that someone is.
Absolutely.
Okay, I didn't catch all that. Anything else that we need to adjust?
There might be a couple additional things. One of the council members has some notes that she made, but she didn't bring them with her. So there might be a couple things that Melissa may email you.
Okay. Yeah,
tomorrow,
so
but-
the ideal would be to have that so that, by tomorrow I can get everything finalized and, submit it for the job ad. So yeah, if you can get that to me sometime tomorrow, that would work fine.
Yeah, not a problem. It's on my desk at work, so I can do it first thing.
Know how that goes. So, okay. Well, sounds good. Sounds good. Any other questions, comments on position profile? Okay, well, I'm going to then shift gears here to the organizational survey. I'll try not to belabor this because I know you guys have a bunch of other things on your agenda and I want to be respectful of your time. But I did want to kind of go through this. I think it's always useful. We kind of added this to our process a couple years back where we just found it fits in with kind of our concept of a city, we feel a city manager search should be a team building exercise for your organization where, you're getting people on the same page, you're, trying to gather broad input. You're trying to, ultimately at the end of the day, it's the city council's decision who's hired, but you're trying to kind of get everybody on the same page, work together, et cetera. One of the things that's important there is recognize, okay, what do we have for strengths? What do we have for areas of improvement? And so there's no perfect organization. If you were, that amazing, unprecedented unicorn of an organization, then what this survey would find is everybody would respond strongly agree to all of these 12 statements that we had. That wasn't the case here, but really it was very, very positive overall. But I'm going to kind of present those results and talk through point by point. Again, I guess the manner this is intended in is attempting to try to diagnose any challenges or any areas for improvement that you have. And then seeking to address those. The best organizations aren't the ones with no problems. The best organizations are the ones that address their problems, kind of evaluate their problems, address their problems, and see that things are handled appropriately there. So that's kind of the spirit in which this is presented. And I am going to switch over to that. I think I'm able to share. So I will share this and hopefully, yeah, there we go. All right, everybody able to see that?
Yes.
Okay, we can see that. Okay, very good. Okay, all right, so here's our organizational survey. We had sent out a link to this, received 12 responses, 7 from staff, 5 from mayor council. As I said, there were options for, if you strongly agree, neither agree nor disagree, or strongly disagree. So essentially 5 possible options for each of the statements. And then respondents were asked to also comment on any comments that they had on those statements. So I'm not going to read all of the questions to you that we had, but there were a total of 12, and they're kind of, again, centered around, to us, from our experience, kind of what makes for an effective city government organization. It's kind of helping determine, what is the level of functionality and effectiveness of the organization. And so if you could answer strongly agree to every question, that would be an indication of, the unicorn, highly effective organization. So as far as the first question was, first statement was, I have a clear idea of what success means for City of Tipton. This was rated very well by mayor council and staff. And I guess another point to make is we do separate out and we show you kind of what the mayor council responses were, and then we show you what the staff responses were, because that gives you a little bit of an additional metric to look at as, are we on the same page? What do people think in an absolute manner in terms of how would they rate this? But then also, what is is there a dichotomy between what mayor council is saying versus what staff is saying? By and large, we found that was not the case. We found that mayor council and staff were on the same page. So that's good. That's a measure, a positive measure for your organization, that people are generally on the same page. As far as this goes, like I said, very good ratings on this. I have provided you all the comments we received on these, and I think some good positive comments, but some things to work on, as you'd hope you'd identify. There's things are positive in this one, but one thing that was mentioned was more interaction between City Hall administration and field staff. So there's I think a good, positive, constructive criticism that could be looked at or talked about in the future. Next one is our critical organizational priorities are being successfully pursued. Again, this was a statement, not quite as strong of positive responses as the last one, but positive responses. So basically the way that I've done this and the scores you're seeing, if it was strongly agree, that would be a score of 5. If it's 4, that would be agree, and so on for the categories. And then basically what I've done is, if it's above a 0.5, then I'm rounding up to the next one. If it's below a 0.5, I'm rounding down to the category below it. So in this case, a score of 4.00 for council is an agree. A staff score of 3.86 is an agree in this case. So as far as comments here, CIP is good. You could use more goal setting. I thought that was a good, constructive comment. And then, there was a good mention here on here, which everybody's, I think a challenge for us as small towns, infrastructure improvements, getting rid of dilapidated properties. There are some items that could be addressed at a goal setting session in the future. So those are some good items there, good comments. Next one was elected officials are respectful of each other even when they may disagree. Mayor and council rated this. So ultimately, because of the way I've got this set up where, a 0.4 rounds down to agree, but the 0.71 rounds up to agree, there was actually a reasonable amount of difference between mayor, council, and staff on this one, but ultimately they're both an agree. They were both positive responses, but it's just kind of in the same sense that I think hopefully this presentation could be an effective tool for staff to understand here's how mayor and council perceive how things are going on your end. I think it can also be in this case staff maybe perceives that it's not quite as rosy as what mayor and council say. If that's the case, I don't know. I'm just reporting here. So that was kind of what we came up with. We didn't really have a lot of strong comments, and that is something that I see in this that is a little bit limited. Sometimes it can mean we didn't get a lot of comments overall for the 12 responses. Like on this one, we only had one comment out of the 12 people that responded. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Certainly that can mean, hey, people are generally happy. It could mean people were too busy and they kind of rushed through it. It could mean, hopefully it doesn't mean that people were intimidated or scared to speak their mind. And I don't think that latter one's the case, but it's, ultimately, there is a little bit of challenge in me interpreting all of this because I don't have a ton of comments on these. So mayor and council understand their roles and are respectful of staff's decision making. This is one where there was a little bit of difference of opinion. Mayor and council said they agreed with that. Staff was neither agree nor disagree. So the council was, council was a little more positive on this. And again, it's, this is just understanding without, taking it anybody taking it personally. There weren't, nasty personal shots levied or anything in these comments, anything like that. But ultimately it's just kind of mayor and council kind of, knowing their role and then also being respectful of staff. But then by and large, hey, reality is that when the council acts together, the council is the boss of this organization, just like it is in every town in Iowa. And so ultimately, staff does have to understand that, hey, when the council speaks as a group, they're the boss, and you do what the boss says, unless it's illegal or unethical or whatever, but that's why you have a city attorney to keep you out of those troubles. So ultimately, this was one where there was a little bit of difference of opinion. As far as staff members understand their roles and are respectful of mayor council policy direction, everybody was pretty much on the same page here. Mayor council and staff were almost the exact same rating on this, but it's not like a super strong agree though. So it is something that could be worked on in the future. Certainly it's something that, the manager needs to reinforce with staff of, hey, when council acts together, they're the boss and we do what they say. That's always a little bit of a moving target. It's just like communication. We always, I think in city government, always take hits from the public for not communicating enough. And I don't know if there is an appropriate amount of communication that you could have as a city government that would please everybody. I think that, you're always going to struggle a little bit with inattention of the public, in the same sense here, staff members might not like a decision the mayor and council make. And so they say, oh, well, we don't like that decision. So maybe, mayor and council aren't providing good policy direction. So there is always a little bit of a moving target here, but I think overall everybody's in agreement here. Chain of command on operational issues is clear and respected by all parties. There was a little bit of like I said, not as much agreement on this. Now, there wasn't a huge span between what the mayor council responses were versus the staff, but they weren't super high here. So this is an area for kind of future improvement or things that, ultimately at the end of the day, it is the manager's job to kind of within the staff to ensure that the chain of command's followed. There's certainly a role to play there for the mayor and council to make sure that, they're not kind of the location for, to go do an end run on the city manager either, so it's sort of like, it needs to kind of be all parties involved, but certainly part of the reason you have a city manager is to make sure that there is a good chain of command, that stuff's appropriately flowing up and down the chain of command. Cities is appropriately responsive to public input. This is another one that's a lot like a does the city communicate enough? Is the city appropriately responsive to public input? Certainly, we all have our, kind of squeaky wheels in our communities. Certainly those people are, residents and taxpayers, and they need to be given, the chance to provide appropriate input. But what you don't want is to go from that to now that person is just dominating the council's time with things that either could be dealt with by staff or that, really don't have a city solution sometimes, et cetera. And so, ultimately that's just something that's always a moving target we've got to work with in city government. It's just the nature of things. We have to kind of walk that line so that we're providing appropriate chance, full public input, but we're ultimately not kind of letting the tail wag the dog and letting, kind of a small minority kind of dictate what's being discussed at council meetings. And so ultimately here, mayor and council and staff were all on the same page. Again, it wasn't a super strong agree, so it could be an area to work on in the future. But again, this is one of those moving target, eye of the beholder things that is really tough where, I've seen these before where mayor and council said, oh yeah, we're a, 4.5, we strongly agree on this. And staff was like, no, they're like a 2.5. So I've definitely seen that before where it's kind of like, mayor and council's perception may be, hey, we listen to the public, we care what they think, et cetera. And the staff's like, oh man, they give, the guy on some small issue, 45 minutes to talk at every meeting, that's just not what we want type of thing. So anyway, it doesn't appear that you have any of that going on. So it's okay to admit a mistake or error on an issue in our organization. There was a little bit of a spread here where, kind of the mayor council agreed with that. Staff didn't quite as much agree, but I don't have any comments on this one. So it's hard for me to really tell you what that means. Of course, it is important. Everybody makes mistakes. So, there's no perfect people, just like there's no perfect organization. Certainly, if it's an honest mistake, that it's the first time somebody's making an honest mistake and they are freely admit it, say, hey, I messed up, I'll do better next time. Certainly, you want to have that be something that people are willing to admit so that, ultimately those small mistakes or small errors don't turn into big errors because people are afraid to admit them. But ultimately, I don't have a lot of feedback I can offer on this one because I didn't get any comments. When our organization encounters challenges, we overcome them. There was an agree for everybody on this. There was one comment, and that was not as positive a comment ultimately here. But yeah, ultimately, mayor, council, and staff were kind of on the same page on this one. This is one of those, again, that's kind of a team building thing. It's kind of a, how do you best, deal with challenges? It's advanced planning. Certainly there's aspects where you're dealing with emergencies where it's kind of got to be all hands on deck, but there's not that many things in city government that are absolute emergencies that can't be planned for. So certainly strongly suggest that, a way to kind of continue to improve in this area is by, good, establishing and implementing a council vision to move things forward, and goal setting is an important part of that. Management's provided good communication to staff, mayor, and council. There's a little bit of a split on this one, and this was actually the only one that we had where mayor and council kind of rated below what staff rated. So, staff said, yeah, we agree with that, for a score of 4 there. Mayor and council didn't agree as much with that. Now, I didn't get any comments, so I don't have any good input to provide you back there. But again, this is one of those, like I said, communication is one of those things that you can never do enough of. You can always be criticized for not doing enough. And there always has to be, full efforts made to provide good communication. So that was one. This was one that was the only one I saw there where mayor and council actually rated lower than staff. Significantly, I guess. So now I go to the next one and it's like 0.06 lower. But anyway, so our organization supports staff taking the initiative to address important issues. You guys both agreed with that. Mayor and council and staff agreed with that. No comments here, but they were, everybody was in agreement. I'm confident about the future of our organization and community. Again, basically the exact same result as the previous one. You guys agreed with that. So just to kind of sum up what we've got, your positive areas of agreement really were most of the items here. So you had a total of, 12 questions, and I think I'm looking at 8 here where you guys said, yep, mayor and council and staff were all in agreement, and it was like a positive agreement. It was, yeah, we think, we do have a clear understanding of what success means. We do, our critical organizational priorities are being pursued. So this is good as far as the results here. You did have a split on 4 of the 12 categories. They weren't huge splits, but, in 3 cases, you had where the mayor and council agreed with the statement, but you had staff saying we neither agree nor disagree. And then, like I said, on the management communication aspect, mayor and council said neither agree nor disagree. Staff said agree. So ultimately, these are not huge disparities. I don't want you to dwell on it too much. I think that the overall thrust of this organizational survey was very positive. But I think that when you look at this, these were your areas where you had a little bit of, not everybody's on the same page. So just kind of as we take a look at this and strategies for moving forward, responses were positive. You guys were on the same page. But there weren't a lot of comments offered, as I said. You know, this is more a rhetorical question. I don't necessarily need your input on this, but just kind of things to think about is like, why didn't people respond a lot? Was it just everybody was busy and it was kind of like not enough time to respond or people rushed through it or whatever? Or was it just like, no, we're just pretty happy with things, and so I'll just get my responses done? So that was one thing I definitely did notice, and I'd already mentioned. Mayor and council were generally more positive than staff overall, which isn't unusual. You know, we talked about the communication from management. You know, kind of mayor council has, you know, kind of seemed to be indicating they'd like enhanced communication to keep them abreast. And then, you know, likewise, you know, there was one comment made there of, you know, in the survey that mayor and council sometimes don't seem to be reviewing the information that they're getting in advance of the meetings. That sometimes has caused having to table items because people really hadn't processed it ahead of the meeting. So that is something, obviously, where mayor and council can make a contribution here to improve the functionality of everything going forward. And then, as I've mentioned before, you know, I really feel like, based on what I'm hearing here, that a goal-setting session in the near future would be good. Often we'll see that done, you know, kind of after the new manager's on board. It's really a nice way to kind of get everybody on the same page and give that new manager some good support to start with, because they're getting the input on, okay, what are the council's priorities really, and what do we need to get nailed down first. So that's just a suggestion, but I think, you know, certainly in what we do, you know, how do we keep, you know, doing more with less, or dealing with, you know, state revenue constraints, et cetera. I feel like the answer is we plan well. You know, if we can plan well for the future, then that's essentially how we get our maximum bang for our buck with tax dollars. So that, I guess that's what I have to say on that. And then I guess at this point, I'd be happy to answer any questions you guys might have. Okay, well, I talked you into submission, apparently.
Doesn't appear
All
that
right.
there's.
Yeah, it was very positive. So yeah, don't dwell on this. You know, this is one of those where it's just good information to have. You know, overall, I think the results are very positive. You should feel good about this, and there's always things to work on. Okay, well, anything else for me? I guess I feel like, you know, if council's good with this, then we'll get those final changes made to the position profile. We'll get those made tomorrow, get the ads out. Any questions, concerns before we proceed with that?
Doesn't appear so.
Okay, great. Well, I'll just look for those changes, and we'll go from there.
Okay, thank you, Brent.
Thank you.
All right, and I'll see you on December 8th. So make sure you mark your calendars. So we've got a special meeting December 8th to go through candidates, and then we would turn around that same week on the December 10th and do Zoom interviews. So we like to do it that way, so it's kind of a quick turnaround for the candidates, but that's 2 special meetings in a week. So like, just make sure that you've got that on your schedules. It's really important because we're trying to get this squeezed in before Christmas, because essentially I've just found in city government, you just don't schedule anything after December 15th because people just aren't in that mode. So you go December 15th to January 1st is a total blackout period for city government in my estimation. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Okay. You may shut off.
Sorry.
All right. Resolution number 110325A. This is resolution accepting the completion of the South Spruce improvement project and approving pay application number 2, change order number 2 regarding as built final quantities and pavement damage deduction, pay application number 3, and the release of the retainage. This is an overflow from last meeting, correct? Yeah.
The pay up to was.
Or the pay up to was. But yeah, so pay up to was the fine, that was the change order, right?
Pay up to, and then the change
The
order
change-
has the deduct on it.
Yeah, has the deduct, right?
The engineer said they recommend it.
Yep.
Garden and
Yeah.
Associates
Right.
said they recommend it, so.
Right.
I mean, make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Passion, seconded by Cummins.
Helm.
Yeah.
Johnston.
Yes.
Cummins.
Yes.
Passion.
Yes.
Coob.
Okay, next is ordinance number 598. This is the ordinance amending chapter 69, parking regulations, section 6908. No parking zones. This is the second reading for the North Plum Street, one side, east side parking only. This is the second reading.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Helm, seconded by Passion.
Johnston.
Abstain.
Cummins.
Yes.
Passion.
Yes.
Coob.
Yes.
Helm.
All right, next is resolution number 110325B. This is the resolution accepting the fiscal year 24-25 annual audit.
Our audit was completed by Clifton, Larson, and Allen. I had sent you the full audit in your emails. We had 2 findings on the audit. One of them was that we didn't get a budget amendment done before we overspent in that function. We've said it before, it's hard to do that sometimes without holding invoices. So that is just sometimes what happens, but we will continue to try to manage that and plan for that. And the other was we had a deficit balance at the end of the fiscal year in 3 funds. Highway 38 project fund, and that is pending completion of the project. So there's some retainage from the DOT that we're waiting for. So that's still working through the DOT system. I know they were in town and they've been working with their auditors. So that is just kind of a waiting game at this point. The airport, every year we do an end of year transport into the airport fund. It's an estimated amount and it was estimated low. So the expenses ended up being a little bit higher than what we transferred in. And then the last one is the Aquatic Center Campaign Fund. That's been on there for quite some time, prior to my knowledge. But what I understand of that is that was pledges that came in. That fund was created for that. So the expenses of the Aquatic Center was receipted into that fund, but then the pledges didn't end up coming in totaling what was expected. So essentially, that's something that's going to be coming back sometime shortly because it's going to have to be covered from another fund to bring that into a zero balance to clear it out. So that was the audit. Any questions?
Motion to
No
approve.
question.
Oh,
Okay,
did
yeah.
you have a question?
We need a motion now.
Yeah, motion.
Second.
Some motion by Cummins, seconded by Johnston.
Cummins.
Yes.
Passion.
Yes.
Coob.
Yes.
Helm.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
All right, next is resolution number 110325C. This is the resolution to accept and approve the 2025 urban renewal report for fiscal year ending June 30, 2025.
This report is an annual report. We're required to submit by December 1st to the state, and it just lists out the rebate agreements that we had paid out for that year and any other TIF payments that we have. So it lists it out and how we've totaled them, and then the revenue that we've received for that too.
Motion approved. Second.
Okay, motion by Helm, seconded by Coob.
Passion.
Yes.
Coob.
Yes.
Helm.
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Cummins.
Yes.
All right, resolution number 110325D. This is the resolution approving the street finance report for road use tax funds used on city streets and parking.
This is another annual report that we have to have filed with the state by December 1st. We received $447,218 in road use tax, which is about $3,000 more than we received last year. The road use tax funds helped pay for the North Plum project, as well as we were able to do a little bit of the aquatic center parking lot, and then a little bit on the South Street shoulder repair. So you'll see that those were for those expenses. The Spruce Street expenses will be in next year's report.
Second. Okay, motion by Coop, seconded by Cummins.
Coop,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
Postian.
Yes.
All right, resolution number 110325E, and this is the resolution to assess nuisance charge due to non-payment by property owner.
We had a property that we had to do a cleanup on, and we have not been able to collect that bill yet. So this is asking to allow it to go to the treasurer's office.
Motion.
Can I?
Yeah, sorry.
No. I guess the information I saw there was what do we have to do.
So it was a property cleanup, a nuisance property cleanup at
So-
a property. So we hire someone to come in, clean up
So-
the property.
We had to mow, get
No.
all the debris out. or-
Debris. Yes.
Okay.
They jump.
Yep.
Okay.
And then we bill them
Right.
multiple times.
Right. Okay.
But so
I read the nuisance. I just didn't.
yes.
realize what was all in there. Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, that's all right. Was that a motion by Helm?
I motioned.
Who motioned that?
Did you second?
He
I
motioned.
second?
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought, but I was like, now I
don't
forget.
remember.
Okay, so motion by Helm, seconded by Cummins.
Helm,
Yes.
Johnston,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
Postian,
Yes.
Coop.
Okay, moving on to department reports. Department heads. I know Terry Scott's stuff. Or John, do you have? Go ahead.
This comment on the annual audit for the DOT project. One of the things that was brought up in my thinking is one of the reasons it hasn't been finalized is there's no holes put on the bases by Walmart. So we'll be looking at moving forward on that. Just beware, there's no infrastructure, there won't be lights, it won't be lit, nothing, but the poles will be there. Just that was one thing that, just like a week ago. So. Other than that, solar's moving pretty good. Looks like they will be putting up a fence hopefully this week. Sound right, Terry?
Yeah, Randy was supposed to get back to me today on that.
Yeah. Anything else you can talk about solar? That's all.
All right, with the solar, it's they got it seeded. They might have to seed it again in the spring. They've got some, I guess I call it sort of a silk fence around the perimeter right now. It's a straw to maintain the soil for the erosion right now. John's right there. They were supposed to get back to Randy today about getting the fence started, to go around the whole project. The solar panels are, I'm talking to the RDS this morning, they're MIA right now. There were supposedly 3 truckloads of solar panels and they can't find it.
Are you kidding?
No, serious, that's what he told me this morning.
I thought they were in town.
No. So,
Oof. Okay.
yeah, I'm sure that they're fine, but it's what he had told me this morning. So, but I still think they're on track till by the end of November to have this thing up and running. So.
If we can find them.
If they can find them, yeah. I guess the truck drivers weren't responding or whatever, so I don't know. Randy said he was gonna get a hold of them, so. The restroom, they will be, the electrician and the plumber should be there on Wednesday. Get that going. The kids and Mike Wade should have them sighted, I think, tomorrow. So they started on the siding, so the doors should be coming. I talked to Swan and Rose. He was supposed to get back to me today too, and never did. But those doors are just coming from North Liberty, so that shouldn't be a problem. figure the break those doors out, we're gonna have electrical in there and stuff, like that stuff. So, all the houses are down except one. 9th Street is about, a third of the way down. We should be down tomorrow, I would think. So that will be taken care of. We got foundations in the ground. It's good. We can get building on them. I had some inquiries on the houses that we just put up for RTs. So I've shown one of them so far. I got two more to show. Things are going good. We've got some other maybe two, but at least one in 457 that's going to go to bring the council here probably in the next month. Just let you know. We're still moving along. I figured it'd be the best time to do it over the winter, so if we can, if it needs to be taken or whatever by spring, we can have it something. Yeah.
Brian? Anything? No? Brad? Linda? No? Anything else?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
John Danos with Dorsey and Whitney, they do all of our TIF related matters and economic development. They also represent US Bank on their real estate side of it. And so he emailed this morning and asked if the city would be willing to sign a conflict waiver form so that they can represent US Bank as the real estate side. US Bank has signed the form and is fine with it, but he asked if we would also sign the form. If it's something council is comfortable signing, I can also run it by Doug to make sure that he is comfortable with the city signing it before we would send it back.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's reviewed everything else, so why not?
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And just as an update, there's a tentative closing date for US Bank on the 18th
This month.
of this month.
Nice.
Everything has went pretty smoothly, and the structural engineering eval was a quick turnaround. So
Good.
we're a couple weeks ahead of
That's all
kind of the
good.
original plan. Yeah, it's pretty much exactly what we expected. Yeah.
I got a comment.
Yep.
So I know there's only 3 department heads here, but during the hits and study, one of the comments was council members are given packets before each meeting. Does not appear that they read them all the way through. Sometimes they get tabled. I guess I apologize for that. We get the packet at 4, just like everybody else. I'm not saying it's me. Maybe it is me. I don't know. But I don't feel comfortable calling you guys on the weekend. And I know my Mondays are crazy. I don't know what Abby's are like or anybody else's. But my Mondays are hectic, I guess. I kind of feel like I try to communicate with you guys, but obviously you think we need to do better. So we'll strive to do better with you guys. So you're not questioning. Sorry for that you guys feel that way, I guess, is what I'm saying. Not an excuse, just letting you guys know. So we'll try to do better. I hope everybody kind of agrees with that. So perfect. That's my only comment.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything?
Thought this was insightful.
Yeah.
Made a lot of sense.
Yep.
In public play too. I think it's not surprising that the council scored a little higher in most things than people in the trenches, but I like what I'm seeing, and I think it's going to help us work better. So
I agree.
you can see.
Okay. Well, if there isn't anything else, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second. Motion by Pashton, seconded by Cummins.
Johnston?
Yes.
Cummins?
Yes.
Pashton?
Yes.
Coop?
Yeah.
Helm?
Yeah.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you.